Good evening, friends. Good evening. I wanted to get on video tonight to go into a subject that I've been wanting to discuss quite some time on the Zimmermania and the EcoHealth Lab channels. First of all, EcoHealth Lab was designed as a more affable name for a health-oriented channel on YouTube. Zimmermania was originally my personal site, and it caught on like crazy, and people love it. I can't imagine not having it, but I've tried to add a little bit of polish by creating EcoHealth Lab, but it doesn't get any hits. Everyone loves Zimmermania, so I put all of my new videos on both, and I hope you enjoy them. And certainly if you are kind enough to promote the EcoHealth Lab channel, it is a more professional feel, and it doesn't have so many of my personal videos as the Zimmermania channel does. But they're all in good, of course, in good taste. They show you a little bit about who I am and what I do and what my interests are, if anyone cares. But it also has all the great Gerson and health videos on it as well. Tonight I wanted to discuss with you new research I've been doing into cancer therapies, and the more I do, the more I'm confused. Okay, the more I talk to Western doctors, the more I talk to people who have seen chemotherapy and radiation work for people, permanently curing their cancer, the more I can't possibly believe that they are all lying. Now, I get on the Chris Beat Cancer site, and he just interviewed a gentleman that recently completed a documentary, and the documentary is called iCureCancer.com. Now, this guy, Ian Jacklin, has done this, what Chris believes to be a really great video, a great film on people he's interviewed that have cured cancer naturally. And I think that's great. I really do. And congratulations, Ian, on the film. Recently, Chris Wark at chrisbeatcancer.com interviewed Ian Jacklin, and I watched the entire interview this evening. And I can certainly relate to their opinions, and particularly to Ian's anger. The gentleman is, completely outraged by what is happening to especially children by way of the law being required to do chemo and radiation and no other type of therapy under the law. Very disconcerting to he and to Chris Wark, and I of course completely agree. I think it's absurd at the least and insane at its worst. But you also have to look at the real statistics. I am not a proponent of chemotherapy or radiation, and I do understand all of the background of cancer, the drug industry, the Rockefeller thing, and that whole insanity. I understand these things, but then again, if we visit St. Jude, it's really hard for me to believe that all those doctors and all those patients are so self-deceived and deceived directly that they would sacrifice on the altar of money the lives of thousands of children a year, showing a 3% cure rate for cancer. Now, from my research, I have seen statistics that show 50% cure rates for leukemias and other types of cancers, especially children. I see higher cure rates in young people. I do not see high cure rates statistically for older people. And as a person slightly over 40 myself, that concerns me. And I think that the progress in cancer for people in midlife is something that should be of alarming concern. Young people are very strong, they're very resilient, they can get better without any treatment at times. But it is disconcerting to me that when it is possible that some of Western established medicine is being treated unfairly by the holistic groups out there. Nothing is an absolute. And while I have always been one to condemn 100% of chemotherapy and radiation, I have seen it work for people. I have met the people before their cancer, when they were diagnosed with it, they went through the therapy, and they had come out okay for now. I've also watched women go through double mastectomies and reconstruction and the horrendous expense of all of this. I'm also watching families now under Obamacare get some of the treatment that they desired, not particularly for cancer, but are finally getting knee replacements and things that they could never afford when insurance costs $2,000 a month for such quality of coverage. Now, when it comes to natural healing of cancers and degenerative diseases, of course from my channel that I'm going to support doctors like Patrick Vickers and the Gerson Institute. And as you know, I healed myself of 17 different problems with the Gerson therapy. I think it's incredible. I think it's just the most wonderful thing in the world. I can't think of anything more beautiful in my life than when all of these symptoms started dropping off, including my allergy to cats. I mean, of all things. It not only healed my, progressive prostate issues having to do with cancer, but it cured my allergies. It cured my high blood pressure. It cured my GERD, my acid reflux. My vision improved. It just goes on and on. In fact, I sent a letter about a year ago to the director, Anita Wilson, at the Gerson Institute, listing the entire, giving her the entire list of maladies that I was cured from with the Gerson therapy. And I did it alone at home by myself. I mean, I didn't do it perfectly. I came pretty close, but and I worked really hard at it, but it wasn't perfect. and yet it worked really well for me. To this day, I'm in incredibly good health. I had my first head cold since 2009 last week. It was nasty. But as you can see, I'm all better. I used Gerson during that period of time. And every time I did the juicing and the coffee breaks, I felt a little better. And then I got better really, really fast. So my immune system kicked in, and the nutrition from the juicing kicked in, and really helped a great deal. So, Ian and Jacqueline talked quite a bit about Rick Simpson and cannabis oil, eating for your blood type, Dr. Gonzalez and Dr. Kelly, and all these guys who I'll be researching. He also mentioned a gentleman by the name of Bill Henderson, who's a cancer coach, who I'm going to contact in the weeks to come to see what he's all about. Sounds like a really great guy. If you want to watch Ian Jacqueline's film, it's icurecancer.com, and apparently the guy has put a lot of money into it and time, and is accepting donations. So be generous with Ian. He's on the right track. He himself has never had cancer, so he's observing the way cancer patients are treated in this country, and he's going through the outrage I went through in 2010 and 11. And it takes time and a great deal of research, reading, and study to begin to understand that all Western medicine, all Western doctors are not evil, and they are not insincere, and they're not sociopaths that want to see children die. But unfortunately, and this is pretty much where I'm coming from, unfortunately, it is my firm belief that many oncologists are fully programmed and trained and brainwashed by the pharmaceutical industry and their profession in general, the posturing of their profession, their university ties, the newsletters they get, the entire model that they are subjected to every single day. Overwhelms them with information that may just be, while sincerely wrong, and exclusive to therapies and cures that are far kinder, far easier, and far more effective than what they have to offer. So while doctors are sincere, yes, they can be sincerely wrong, and it is incredibly important that every individual that is faced with this situation calm down, chill, and get to doing your own research. It is only through your own sincere study of what is going on with your particular issue that you will find the truth. And of course, call the Gerson Institute, talk to them, get their opinion. Call Chris Wark, and talk to Ian Jacqueline. They see a lot of things out there in the world that are quite real for families of people, children, and they are very frightened by what they see, particularly the government controlling families and forcing their children to do chemotherapy. And in case you did not know this, kids are not allowed to do natural therapies. If an oncologist catches wind that your child has cancer, and you take that child and put him in a holistic cancer therapy, And it is the duty of the oncologist to report that to the government, and you can be arrested and incarcerated, and your children can be taken from you and forced to do chemotherapy and radiation. And that's all a government-sponsored program. So, so much for freedom in our country, and the right to choose for ourselves and our families. So, in that regard, they are 100% correct. Dr. Patrick Vickers from the Northern Baja Gerson Center also has reported this to be a fact. So I believe that at this time that is the truth. That is what happens. Now, I'm not absolutely certain that oncologists are required by law to report families that take their kids out of state or out of the country for cancer therapy, but it is, I'm fairly certain that that is the case. Now, in that regard, these guys have a really tough, they have a really strong point, and are very right to be angry, as should all citizens be concerned with this. But in the back of my mind, I cannot believe that 100% of doctors simply would do this. But then I turn around and I think, well, every 4 out of 5 municipalities has fluoride. Fluoride has been proven to be a very, very dangerous thing to add to water supplies. And yet it is forced upon us. They tried to force Portland, Oregon, to fluoridate a few years ago, and it took an enormous public outcry to stop it. And the Center for Disease Control will be back to Portland to work on every single city council member until fluoridation is achieved in that city. They send swarms of representatives to cities like Portland who get it voted out, and then they try to force it back in again. And this information came to me directly from Dr. David Kennedy, a personal friend, who produced and directed the movie Fluoride Gate. And if you haven't seen Fluoride Gate, it's at fluoridegate.com, .org, both. So watching these guys, watching Ian and Chris Wark discuss cancers this evening and the treatment for cancer was a startling reminder that we must press forward. If you know politicians, show them Chris Wark's channel, show them the movie on icurecancer.com. I haven't seen it yet, but show them the beautiful truth. Dying to have known, the Gerson miracle. Okay, and I'll be producing a documentary this year on cancer, and mostly regarding the advancements to the Gerson therapy, such as dendritic cell therapy, and some new ones that I'm very excited about bringing to you. So keep your ears open and your mind open. You know, the world is an evil place, but it is not a completely evil place. Every doctor is not entirely evil. And I think the lesson here is to choose your doctors very carefully. And if you're on a health plan, interrogate them. Go in and make an appointment, and don't talk about your health. Talk about how they do medicine, what they will do. Ask them, if my son gets cancer, are you going to turn us into the Center for Disease Control? And so that the government will force us to give our child chemo. Talk to your doctor about these things before they happen. And if you do it before they happen, you can build a relationship with your doctor. And if it doesn't work, you get a new one. So I would recommend that people look for naturopaths within their insurance group. Try to find the most empathetic to natural therapies doctor that you can find. I believe that's a great start. And it's operating within the system. And when you do find such a doctor, tell your friends about it. Support that physician, because that physician is taking a risk by somewhat setting aside the more dangerous chemotherapies and radiation, and perhaps attempting to usher in legal natural therapies. So my point of this video is try to bring people that are giving 100% of themselves to medicine a chance to be their best. Communication is incredibly important with physicians, and a lot of these guys go into medicine not knowing that they're going to become pawns of a money-making machine. Some of them are completely aware of it. They'll put you on chemo and radiation and bill your insurance hundreds of thousands of dollars while taking kickbacks and all kinds of vacations and whatever. If that's still going on, and I believe to some degree it is. But up till a few years ago, it was a free-for-all for doctors. They were getting kickbacks left and right by prescribing experimental cancer drugs for children, getting a free trip to Aruba on business. This was actually happening. This is documented. This is not conjecture. This is documented fact. I believe that some of these problems have been minimized or lessened through the efforts of some notable people and some new laws within the medical community, but by no means has it been eliminated. You know, money will always corrupt, and that's what we're watching out for. So thank you for listening this evening. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and remember to watch the Growing Your Greens channel on YouTube. That's my buddy John Kohler's fantastic channel on how to grow amazing vegetables in your yard, how to build anything, how to do compost, what fertilizer is, what it isn't. He also owns the OK Raw YouTube channel. Incredible information on raw food eating and preparing. He also owns the discountjuicers.com, and I always promote him because he's the hardest working guy in the natural world. And I always appreciate what he does. So thank you for watching the Zimmermania channel and the Eco Health Lab channel. We'll see you next time. God bless.